Bodybuilding is more dangerous than most realize. Rich Piana, a giant in the sport with one of the most extreme physiques ever, collapsed suddenly, leaving fans shocked and questions unanswered. Steroids, supplements, and relentless training all played a role. But what really caused his death? And how far can the sport push someone before it becomes fatal? To understand what really killed Rich Piana, we need to go back to where it all began. Rich Piana grew up surrounded by fitness. His mother was a bodybuilder, and she inspired him to start lifting weights at a very young age. By the time he was 15, Rich was already competing in local bodybuilding contests. He loved the sport and threw himself into it completely. His training was intense. He described extremely long training sessions and heavy supplementation, including multiple protein shakes per workout. To fuel his workouts, he often drank up to 16 protein shakes in one session. This extreme dedication helped him build a huge physique, but it also came with challenges he would face later in life.
Let it digest for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're gonna make 16 shakes. So 16 shakes consisting of basically just a little bit of protein.
Rich was honest about using steroids. He said he started in his late teens and continued for more than 27 years. Unlike many bodybuilders who hid it, Rich openly talked about steroids, training techniques, and supplements. This honesty made him stand out and helped him connect with fans who wanted real advice. He also shared motivational videos on YouTube where he gave tips, shared stories, and discussed performance-enhancing drugs. His channel became very popular, earning tens of thousands of views and turning him into a major online figure in the fitness world. Rich's personal life was as dramatic as his career. He was married twice. His first marriage ended because of an affair, underscoring how his actions took a toll on his personal life.
Take Rich to be a husband, to love, honor, cherish, respect. And you, Rich?
I do.
In 2015, he married Icelandic bodybuilder Sara Heimisdottir, but the marriage didn't last long. It was annulled in 2016 with accusations of fraud and theft. At the time of his death, Rich was in a long-term relationship with fitness model Chanel Jansen. She later revealed that he struggled with opiate addiction, showing that even someone so physically strong could face personal battles. Rich was also known for saying controversial things, including remarks that drew criticism. People either loved his honesty or were shocked by his words, but he never tried to hide who he was. Besides lifting weights and making videos, Rich was also a businessman. In 2014, he started 5% Nutrition, a company that sold supplements for bodybuilding and health. He promoted long-term health and muscle growth through his brand. However, many pointed out that Rich didn't always follow his own advice, especially when it came to health. Piana was a mix of extremes: dedicated, sometimes reckless, honest, and controversial. He pushed the limits in the gym, shared his life openly with fans, and built a brand that outlived him. Fans remember him not just for his size, but for his honesty, passion, and the energy he brought to everything he did. But nothing could have prepared anyone for what happened that August afternoon. On August 7th, 2017, tragedy struck Rich Piana. It was about 1:30 p.m., and he was at his home in Clearwater, Florida. His girlfriend, Chanel Jansen, was cutting his hair. Suddenly, Rich collapsed. During the fall, he hit his head and became unresponsive. Chanel immediately called 911 and started performing CPR. She continued for about 10 minutes until the paramedics arrived. The paramedics were able to restart his heart, but they noticed a serious problem. Rich had suffered brain damage. He had been without oxygen for over 30 minutes. Despite the efforts of medical staff, he never recovered and tragically passed away days later, leaving the fitness world and his fans in shock. The news shocked fans and the bodybuilding community. Rich was famous for his huge muscles, extreme training, and pushing his body to the limit. Many believed he was almost invincible, but this collapse showed that even the strongest people have limits. His fall was sudden, and it reminded everyone how fragile life can be, no matter how fit someone appears. However, his body was literally screaming for help, and he ignored every single warning. Looking back, There were warning signs before the collapse. In the week before, Rich felt short of breath and nauseous after workouts. These episodes could last up to 45 minutes. Despite the discomfort, he didn't take them seriously. He thought they were just normal post-workout fatigue. The moment everyone feared finally came. Rich Piana stayed in a coma for 2 weeks, with fans everywhere following every update and hoping he would recover. Sadly, on August 25, 2017, he passed away at just 46 years old. The news left the fitness community and his fans in deep shock and grief.
Do stuff that he loved, do stuff that he hated. Pinch his nipples, play with his hair, do anything to try to stimulate him and wake him up. I would sing to him, I would talk to him, I would read to him. 2-week mark, at the end of 2 weeks, they said, well, he's no longer considered to be in a coma, he's in a vegetative state.
News of Rich's death spread quickly. His estranged wife, Sarah Heimisdottir, and his business associates were among the first to confirm it. Soon after, outlets like TMZ reported more details, including that around 20 bottles of testosterone were found in his home. These reports sparked debates about the role steroids and supplements may have played in his passing. The circumstances of his collapse only added to the mystery. He had fallen while getting a haircut.
Time denied he used recreational drugs, but the mix of supplements, medications, and his extreme lifestyle may have contributed to the collapse. News of Rich's collapse and death spread quickly. His estranged wife, Sarah Heimisdottir, and his business associates were among the first to announce it. TMZ and other outlets reported more details. They said around 20 bottles of testosterone were found in his home. The reports sparked discussions about the role of steroids and supplements in his death. What made his final moments even more shocking were the unusual circumstances: falling while getting a haircut, needing CPR, and going into a coma made the story even more dramatic. Media reports often focused on his extreme lifestyle, including steroids, supplements, and long workouts. Many used his death as a warning about the dangers of pushing the body too far. Fans, friends, and fellow bodybuilders shared messages of grief and respect online. Many remembered his energy, honesty, and motivational videos. Others debated the risks of bodybuilding, including steroid use, overtraining, and supplement abuse. His death became a cautionary tale. It showed how extreme dedication to fitness and muscle building can have hidden dangers. Even with controversies, one thing was clear: Rich Piana's death was sudden and tragic. He seemed strong and healthy, but he was vulnerable in ways that few could see. He left behind a lasting legacy in bodybuilding, fitness, and social media. His collapse and passing were a stark reminder that even the strongest people have limits. Life can change in a single moment, and health should never be taken for granted. Rich Piana's story is both inspiring and cautionary. He showed what dedication and hard work could achieve, but he also demonstrated the risks of extreme habits. What came next added even more mystery. When the autopsy results were finally released, they left fans with more questions than answers. In November 2017, the Florida District 6 medical examiner released the official ruling on Rich Piana's death. The cause was listed as undetermined. This conclusion surprised many fans and raised questions. One major reason for the uncertainty was the lack of a proper toxicology report. Hospital staff had discarded the blood and urine samples just 3 days after his hospitalization. Despite requests from family and authorities to preserve them, the specimens were gone. Without these tests, it was impossible to confirm whether drugs played a direct role in his collapse and death. The undetermined ruling left room for speculation. There's no doubt that Rich had a long history of using performance-enhancing drugs and supplements. Many wondered whether they contributed to his death. However, the medical examiner could not make a definitive link due to the missing toxicology results.
Number one would be cardiomegaly, which is an enlarged heart. I don't think anybody was really surprised at that. Obviously, Rich Piana was a 300-plus pound bodybuilder at some point, so I don't think anyone was really surprised that the size of his heart was larger than normal.
Without the toxicology report, the autopsy revealed several serious medical issues. One of the most alarming findings was Rich's heart. It weighed 670 grams, roughly twice the size of a normal adult heart. Pathologists noted mild coronary atherosclerosis, which means the arteries had hardened over time. Combined with the enlarged heart, the report described significant heart disease. These conditions suggested that his heart was under extreme stress, likely from years of intense training, steroid use, and high blood pressure. Other organs also showed signs of severe strain. Rich's liver was about twice the normal size, and he had fatty liver disease. His kidneys were congested, which means they were swollen or filled with fluid. The brain showed swelling, a condition known as cerebral edema. Doctors also observed bronchopneumonia, lung edema, fat emboli, ascites, fluid in the abdomen, and ischemic brain damage. Each of these conditions alone could affect health, but together they painted a picture of someone whose body had endured tremendous physical stress over many years. Interestingly, the autopsy noted no external injuries beyond the head impact from his collapse. There was also no evidence of an acute overdose in the tests that were available. This meant that, based on what could be analyzed, there was no clear sign that a recent drug overdose caused his death. The missing toxicology report remains one of the most significant gaps in understanding Rich Piana's death. Without blood or urine analysis, investigators could not determine the exact levels of drugs, supplements, or medications in his system at the time of collapse. This has left many questions unanswered, particularly because Rich openly admitted to decades of steroid and supplement use. Some experts believe the combination of extreme supplements, performance-enhancing drugs, and physical strain contributed to his heart and organ problems. Others speculate that an undetected drug interaction could have played a role. However, because the hospital discarded the specimens, it is impossible to confirm these theories. This lack of evidence means that, officially, the cause of death remains undetermined, but the real story doesn't end there. One of the biggest contributors to Rich Piana's health problems was his long-term use of anabolic steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs. Rich openly admitted that he had used steroids, growth hormone, insulin, and other substances for more than 27 years. Reports after his death noted that about 20 bottles of testosterone were found in his home. Medical experts say long-term steroid use can have serious effects on the body. For example, it can cause organ enlargement, particularly in the heart, a condition called left ventricular hypertrophy, LVH. This makes the heart work harder to pump blood and increases the risk of cardiac events, including heart attacks and sudden death. Rich was aware of these risks and often talked about them publicly. In interviews, he even said he would continue using steroids despite the dangers. This highlights his dedication to extreme bodybuilding, but also his willingness to take serious health risks. Rich also had a habit of abusing pre-workout supplements. He admitted to snorting high-caffeine pre-workout powder like cocaine. While this may sound shocking, it demonstrates the extreme lengths he went to for energy and performance. High doses of caffeine can put significant strain on the heart and cardiovascular system. Combined with steroids and intense training, this created even more stress on his body, further increasing his risk of heart problems. And it only gets worse from here. Beyond steroids and supplements, Rich had other habits that likely worsened his health. He struggled with opiate addiction at various points, which added further strain on his liver and kidneys. His training routines were extreme. Some days, he would work out for up to 8 hours straight, pushing his body to the absolute limit. While this helped him achieve his massive physique, it also contributed to weakened heart function, liver damage, and overall physical stress. These habits combined to create a perfect storm for health issues. His heart was under constant strain. His liver had to process massive amounts of supplements and drugs, and his overall body was pushed beyond what is safe for long-term health. Even someone with a strong and disciplined approach to fitness can suffer severe consequences when extreme habits are sustained over decades. Rich Piana's story is not unique in the bodybuilding world. Many professional bodybuilders face similar health risks, and several have died young. For example, Dallas McCarver, a rising bodybuilding star, died at the age of 26. Studies have shown that professional bodybuilders using steroids and other PEDs have about 5 times higher mortality from heart, liver, and kidney failure compared to the general population. These risks are often compounded by extreme training, supplement abuse, and lifestyle pressures within the sport. Piana's case highlights the dangers of prioritizing extreme physical appearance over long-term health. Even with medical knowledge and awareness of the risks, his choices ultimately contributed to serious organ damage and health complications. While steroids and supplements can accelerate muscle growth, they come with high stakes that are sometimes underestimated by athletes chasing peak performance. But Piana's story didn't end there. His sudden collapse and death sparked a wave of speculation, raising more questions than answers. After Rich Piana's collapse and death, rumors spread quickly. Some speculated that an insulin overdose or interactions with other substances caused hypoglycemia, leading to his coma. Early reports mentioned clarified that the powder was a pre-workout supplement. Blood and urine tests that were conducted reportedly came back clean, showing no acute overdose. However, no full toxicology report was ever completed, because the hospital discarded the samples just 3 days after his hospitalization. Without these tests, it's impossible to fully rule out the involvement of drugs or supplements. This lack of information left fans and experts speculating, giving rise to theories about exactly what caused his death. This is where things get really dark. Some close to Piana suggested foul play, although nothing was ever proven. His friend, Dave Palumbo, and his brother, Ryan Piana, voiced concerns about certain people who were allegedly being looked at following his death. They expressed uneasy feelings about the circumstances surrounding his collapse, including the delay in CPR before paramedics arrived, and the hospital's disposal of critical samples. While no evidence was ever found to support these claims, some fans created their own theories. But the truth is even more disturbing than the rumors. Misinformation spread quickly after Piana's death. Some fake reports claimed that the autopsy proved steroids were the direct cause of death. These claims were widely circulated on social media, and even in some news outlets. In reality, the official autopsy was inconclusive, listing the cause of death as undetermined due to missing toxicology data. The circulation of fake autopsy reports added confusion and fueled public speculation. Many fans wanted a clear answer, but the lack of evidence made this impossible. Over time, the truth became clearer. The official findings did not confirm an overdose or direct steroid causation. Yet the combination of rumors, missing data, and Rich's known history of PED use created an environment where misinformation thrived. Rich Piana's death also highlighted the darker side of professional bodybuilding. The industry often pushes athletes to develop freakish physiques, which can encourage long-term use of performance-enhancing drugs, extreme supplements, and grueling workouts. While fans admired Rich's size and dedication, his lifestyle also served as a warning. Many professional bodybuilders face similar risks, with early deaths linked to heart, liver, and kidney problems. Piana's story shows the tension between admiration for extreme muscle and the real health dangers behind it. He reached what many called the pinnacle of bodybuilding form, but that achievement came with serious personal costs. Public discussions often balance admiration with caution. Commentators like Joe Rogan have discussed Piana's death as a tragic example of steroid-related complications. Sparked debate about glorification in the sport. Media often highlights size, strength, and extreme physiques, sometimes overlooking long-term health. Piana's death forced the bodybuilding community and fans to consider the consequences of pushing the human body to unnatural extremes. It's a reminder that even someone who appears indestructible can face serious health problems from years of extreme practices. Rich Piana's story is a warning and a legacy. Extreme training, steroids, and supplements pushed him to the limit and cost him his life. Learn from his journey, protect your health, and question the price of muscle. Like, share, and subscribe to uncover more hidden truths in bodybuilding.